Today, we're unwrapping a treasure trove of Christmas magic revisiting cherished moments. And as always, I hope you enjoy the show. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I'd love it if you hit that button. For this craft, you're going to need a pizza pan. I spray painted mine white just to give it a primer, and now I'm painting 2 coats of acrylic black paint. This is your free printable today. It will be down below in your description box. I created it myself. And I'm just taking and scribbling chalk on the back of it, and then I trace it onto the pan, and as you can see, it leaves a very nice, it's very acceptable template for you to use. And I'm taking my chalk marker now, and I'm just tracing that out onto the pizza pan. Then I took some Dollar Tree nautical rope and I'm wrapping white yarn around it. Now you can use anything you want here. You could use ribbon, you could use raffia, anything you want, but I really think it dresses up the twine a lot when you wrap ribbon around it or yarn or something just to break it up. Look at that. It just makes it extra special, kind of gives it that candy cane look. You could even use some electrical tape and wrap it around too, like in red if you had the nautical rope in white, and it would look like a candy cane. Like so many different ways you could do this. Very fun. So I'm taking this buffalo check ribbon and I'm making a very full floral bow, and I have a video for my bows called 10 Easy Christmas Bows. I mention it again at the end of this video because it's such a great video around Christmas time for those of you that need help with bows. I timestamp everything so you don't have to watch the whole video, but it's really helpful, and that is down below in my description box, so you can find it there as well. So for this, I looped a whole bunch of loops, and then I just cut it in the middle, halfway, not to the center, but just halfway down away from the center on either side, and that just gives a little bit of room for you to tie your twine. I use twine because it's really strong when I use a lot of loops like this, and it won't break. And the good thing when you use a lot of loops is you don't need to worry about the center of the bow because it's so full you can't even see the middle. See that? They're really cute. They look like little flowers when they're full like that. I love floral bows when they're full. And then I chose to add some boxwood. You could use whatever greenery you want. I just want that really bright green, but of course you could add pine. And I added just a little splash of red here with some berries, not a lot, just an accent piece. And Dollar Tree sells those wooden snowflakes. I painted them white, glued them on the bottom, and look at how cute this came out. I got this cheese grater at the Family Dollar for $1, and I decided to go ahead and try to make it look like an antique. So I'm starting off with pewter gray from Apple Barrel paint. That's my favorite color to kind of start with. You just rub it all over and sponge it on to make the shine go away. So that's the first thing you want to do. Next, I'm using the color Nutmeg. For those of you that watch my channel, you know that Nutmeg Brown is the favorite for me from Apple Barrel Paint for faux rust. You can go ahead and you can do the cinnamon trick on this too if you really want to get into it. I'm just going to use the paint because I'm just looking to age it a little bit. And this is really something that takes practice. And if you make a mistake and you're not happy with something, you can always blow dry and paint over and then start again. You can see here I'm using my heat gun and I'm drying it to do the second step here because I'm going to go ahead and add black now. I try to add black on the edges of everything because that's where, when I've seen antiques, that's where they get darker, is usually on the edges. I don't know what happens there, if it's a form of oxidization. It's probably some kind of oxidization, but they get darker where there was heavy use. So I use the black for that, and then I'm still going over with the gray in places, painting over it, adding the nutmeg. This is definitely something, again, you do by eye. You just keep working with it and playing with it until you're comfortable with how it looks. And now we're going to use the hairspray trick again. Any hairspray should work for this. So you spray and you blow dry, or I'm using a heat gun, but either one will work. So, but you do it as you go. So as you're spraying, you're drying at the same time, and that's how you get that look. Next, I'm taking this ticking stripe ribbon I got from Amazon. The link is down below in my description box. It wasn't a bad price at all when I bought it. And I'm just gluing 2 loops together here. I'm showing you what I'm doing. I'm doing a slit on either side so that the twine fits in there nice. I'm going to tie it and then I'm going to puff these loops out. Now here's the rest trick for those of you that don't know. My Dollar Tree finally had some bells and Christmas things out, so I grabbed these bells. I painted them with the nutmeg brown. You can use just glue if you want, but I'm doing the nutmeg brown, and while it was wet, I sprinkled the cinnamon on, and that's it. And you get a really nice faux rust. And of course, you saw me saving the cinnamon. I dump it back in there for future uses. So now I'm adding some of the baker's twine on either one of these little bells here, tying it because we're going to be looping this around my little grater for sure. And I did put a little dot of hot glue on top of the knots so that that doesn't come out. For my last haul, I found these. I was so excited because they feel and look like wood. I went ahead and picked them up, and we're going to use this one today. Again, using the nutmeg brown, I'm going to go around with my little sponge and sponge on this color and kind of paint over the top too a little bit. You'll see me kind of rub it. Again, you have to do it by eye, but you're just getting this tag to match the antique look so that it's in a theme, because we don't want like a really old cheese grater and then a brand new tag. So I'm trying to get everything to kind of be in a theme, and I'm adding hairspray again on the bells. Well, that was more to hold the cinnamon on. You just saw me lift it up. And here I've got a mix of black and nutmeg brown on my sponge, and I'm showing you how that made a really pretty faux wood for the back of these tags. No one's really going to see the back, but just in case, I made the back look like a faux wood grain. And I added a little black as well on these tags, and there's also a white bead that I'm kind of coloring. It's a mix of brown and black, but I'm just distressing everything so that everything matches. I'm going to go ahead and tie this tag on the cheese grater with the bells, and that's going to be one of my little embellishments that hang off. Next, we're adding the bow that I made. We're tying that on. I wanted to tie everything on and not glue. That's totally up to you, but I did that just in case, you know, I want to change it up for different seasonal decor. I thought it would be pretty for each season to decorate this cheese grater, or even just have it out as decoration plain, because that's also cute, I think, little antique cheese graters. But anyway, I'm just gluing some pine down, and then you can use this like a vase. So I'm sticking some pine down the center, adding a pine cone into the bow, because I wasn't really liking the way the loops were looking in the front. So I went ahead and glued that big pine cone in the middle. I'm adding some berries, and I'm trimming the pine. Do you see that? Because I cut those big pieces of pine up, the pick that you see I'm putting in right now, I cut those into little pieces, and obviously they don't always look like they're the end of the branch. You know how it's supposed to have that graduated little tip? So I go ahead and trim it in the graduated tip, and I'm adding some different pine in the back. Now I'm using a baby wipe, and I'm just adding some flocking to the pine cone and to the top of the berries here for just a little extra. And the last final touch is taking some more of the ticking stripe ribbon, twirling it kind of like a candy cane. Not a candy cane, but like those candy sticks. I think this was so perfect. Now I'm going to be careful and not glue it onto the cheese grater. Again, I want to have this up maybe all year with no decor on, change out the seasonal bows. So I'm gluing it on the inside of one of the bow loops, but it drapes down really pretty and creates a wonderful backdrop for the rest of the embellishment that's hanging to the left side. I think this came up so beautiful and unique. Let me know what you think. Grab yourself a rectangular tray. I'm using the charger from Dollar Tree, and this time I'm going to use some Epsom salt, because why not? I have some, and I'm going to put that on the bottom of the tray and just pat it down. Next, I'm going to use some mason jars. These are from the Dollar Tree, but you can use old spaghetti jars. That would work just fine too. And I'm going to fill those with regular table salt. I'm going to add my tall taper candles. I think these are called taper candles. And I'm going to push those down in the salt just like I did before. And I'm going to add some of the Dollar Tree jingle bells because I have those, and I'm adding some red. I was thinking like a silver bell theme because the tray's silver, but I end up thinking it does need a little more red. You'll see me change out some of the bells with red baubles in a bit, but another one that's really simple, kind of celebrating nature here. I'm using the wood bells, and then I decide the jars are a little plain. Now you could leave the jars the way they are, or you could do what I'm doing and just glue some ribbon really fast around the top. Again, this one took me maybe like 10 minutes to make, and I just make little twine bows, and I'm going to glue them on each one, and of course I'm going to trim them because they're a little bit too long. I add some snowflakes, super cheap, and you could add some extra greenery there if you wanted to, either real or fake if it's just a temporary thing. And here I go switching out the silver bells and just adding some red and making it pretty on both sides there. So you would want to add something pretty on the other side too, maybe for your guests. You don't have to, it still looks pretty, just plain like fabric ribbon on the top there. But look at this, look how pretty and so simple and so affordable. So for this project, these are the items I'm going to use, and believe it or not, I found these pantyhose at Dollar Tree. I couldn't believe it. It was the last pair, and I'm just going to cut a little snippet off, like a little square, and pull it tightly over the foam ball. Now I'm going to tie it with some twine, as tight as I can. This is also Dollar Tree twine, so it's the really thin one. I'm going to cut that as short as I can, and this is what we're left with. I'm going to make sure that that little seam on the foam cone is in the back for my next step, and then I'm going to stake that foam ball with a skewer stick, also from the Dollar Tree. It's the smaller skewer sticks, and I'm going to go ahead and push and glue the ball on top of the cone. So it should look like this. Now I'm going to take the Dollar Tree doily, and I'm going to kind of fit it up around underneath there to cover where the foam ball joins the cone. And if you haven't guessed, I'm going to attempt to make an angel here. I've always wanted to do this with the cones. So I'm showing you that if you don't have wings, you could easily use the doily right there in the back, just the back of the doily, as wings in a pinch, and that would work. I'm going to end up using it for her sleeves, but I'm just taking a Dollar Tree glue stick, and I'm going to glue the doily down to the cone. Now I'm going to take some hot glue and just join the back together, and I'm going to do like a seam right there all the way down so that I can join it together. And now you can see more what I was talking about with the wings. You could absolutely use that as wings. I'm also going to tack down like her front little collar there, and I'm going to make sure I pull it up tight enough around her neck and do a little hot glue as well, because I definitely don't want where the ball is joining the cone to show. And of course I'm just trimming where I need to as necessary. After I was done cutting off the extra doily, I had some pieces left, and I decided to use it to make some sleeves. So I'm just cutting them and gluing them, and I'm going to trim them as best I can to make them the same shape and size. These are some rollers from the Dollar Tree, and I'm showing you here how you can push it down and take that piece on the top off, and you're stuck with this really thick wire here. It looks like little perfect hands. It would work for perfect hands. And I'm just gonna it went flying. I clipped that, and that's what I'm putting inside her sleeves. Now I was gonna put the wooden bead on the end of it for her hands, but I actually preferred just using them to hold the sleeve up, like her hands are kind of tucked under the sleeve a little bit. I didn't want to put hands. I don't know, I haven't made up my mind totally about that, but for now I left the wooden beads off. And I'm just gonna, you'll see me here push the little wire up the sleeve, and that's just to make sure they stay up, although I think I didn't really need to do that. You probably could have just, I mean, I can see right now the sleeves are staying up on their own, so I probably could have just left them like this, but I do end up putting the wire up there. I think I did the wire just in case I change my mind and want to put a little wooden bead at the end of it, but you know, you can see, not so much on film, but in person, you can see the little wire underneath, and it does look like a little ham, like a little fist closed up. It just looks like those, you know, the girls that wear the oversized sweaters and the sleeves go over their hands. It just kind of looks like that with a sleeve. I thought it looked very elegant. So now I'm trimming them to try and get them the same size, but they don't have to be perfect on both sides. I'm not worried about that because, you know, in real life dresses move and things shift. So I'm just doing my best to make them match. Next, I'm going to use the Dollar Tree mop head, and this is really easy to take the threads out. If you open it up, there's a plastic piece in the center there, and I'm just taking a wire cutter and I snipped the corner of it, and then you can kind of turn it sideways and just pull all the little yarn threads out. I love working with the Dollar Tree mop head. It's been a while. I think I may have been the first one to actually use this mop head on YouTube. I know I covered some hearts for a garland for a headboard, and then I went ahead and did, you'll see it in my, if you like farmhouse decor, I have a video that's very popular. It's 22 farmhouse DIYs. It's under the popular videos. You'll see a like crochet heart that I did with it. It was so pretty. I did an ombre and I hung wooden beads and a tassel. It just was really, really cute. So and then I did a bigger one. I actually I loved that one so much. I made a big one with an ombre with blue colors for like boho farmhouse. Anyways, the mop is totally fun to work with. So I decided I definitely wanted her to have a part. So I ended up cutting the threads and pushing them together in the center so that she has the part. And I'm just taking my time here and unraveling everything, making sure everything's nice and straight. And in the back, I did little loops like this so that her hair would continue to hang down straight. That's how I handled that, because it's hard with, you know, thick yarn like this, obviously, because it's not real hair. But I thought it came out looking really nice in the back as well. And then I'm just making sure that none of the scalp shows, well, faux scalp. So after I put this back piece in, I take individual little pieces and just glue them as needed. Wherever I feel like it's too thin, I kind of squish it down, and I brought it down a little farther on her face. And then we're going to give her a haircut. And I couldn't decide what color hair or what to do with this little angel, so I just made her all white, like a light, you know what I mean, like a light bulb, because I thought you can't go wrong. And then she can be like a winter angel too. You could leave her up through the winter. You don't have to take her down for Christmas or anything by adding colors if you just keep it completely like a neutral color, like white. So this is weather stripping, and I just thought this would make a really nice border for her, and it would hold her gown down. I think that looks really nice. It's super cheap. I think I ordered it on Temu, but they also sell it cheap on Amazon as well. And that's what we have so far. So now I'm taking these winter picks that I got from the Dollar Tree. I love these, and I'll show you in the final reveal how pretty they are as the halo, but I end up giving her like a sparkly halo, and I do have to use, I'm showing you like little individual pieces to build it up, but it comes up so pretty. Look at that. And the jewel just happened to be right in the center of her forehead. It was like perfect. So this is an ornament I found at the Dollar Tree. Isn't it perfect? It's some angel wings. That's actually why I wanted to make the angel. I found this ornament first and I went, oh, that's so pretty. So I'm gluing that on the back of her, and now she has her wings. So I considered leaving her faceless, and then I decided, you know, I wish I had those little black beads, because I had done that in the 90s where I used little black beads, and I didn't have any. So I used the color hot glue. I have like brown that you use for fake chocolate. I thought that will work. And I gave her little brown eyes. I just made little glue dots, and I did the same thing for her mouth. You could skip the mouth too. I think that looks cute, but we're all done. For this one, you're going to need some fabric, a printable, a hoop, and some wooden beads. And so here's your free printable today. It's an old-fashioned Victorian print. I thought it was perfect for this one. And I printed it up on cardstock. You can print it up on fabric. Of course, the free printable will be available for you down below in my description box. And I'm just trimming the excess fabric off. So for those of you that love a Disneyland type themed Christmas, this one is for you. It definitely has the Disneyland vibe if you've ever been to Disneyland during Christmas, and I think probably Walt Disney World is the same. This is perfect. So I took my wooden beads and I just went around the border of the little imagery that I have there, and make sure that you lay them down first before you commit and glue, just so that you have them nice and snug and you don't have any gaps, and to make sure they fit properly. Now I'm using this pearl wrap from the Dollar Tree. I think they still sell it, and I just trimmed off the edge of it so that I could use a thin strip and give it a nice pearl border, which I thought tied in with the Victorian vibe here, and that's what it looks like so far. Next, we're going to take some of that ribbon. I even saved some of the fabric that I cut off and turned it into ribbon as well. I just cut a strip of it, and I'm just laying it all down and making what we call a messy bow. So for those of you that need a little help with your Christmas bows, I have a fantastic video called 10 Easy Christmas Bows. It's down below in my description box. They're time-stamped, so you just click on the bow that you're interested in and it will take you right to it. Very, very fun. And I tied this bow onto the metal part of the hoop, and it's the bottom of my little plaque there. Now I'm going to take these red berries and I'm going to glue 3 of them on the bottom. I also glued some pine down as well. So I used half wooden beads for around the imagery, and now I'm using the full wood bead and I'm just threading it on some twine to make a hanger. And look at this. It's still one of my all-time favorites. Again, if you love Disney Christmas, this is perfect. It's just got that cute old-fashioned vibe, you know, where I forget, like the bartender guys sing their little Christmas carols in Disneyland. So cute. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and hype it. There's a new thing called hype. And of course, if you had fun today, here's another video I think you'll enjoy watching next.
Merry Christmas!